Hey guys, so I'm going to run through a household budget in this video. It's the one that's in your folder and it's called the Caldwell family, and we're going to just look at how you'd answer each section. Some of you may remember this from last year, some of you may have already tried it and found it quite easy, except until you get to the opening cash, which I'm going to go through. Okay, so first of all you can see that I started with Simon Caldwell, and the information that we have is that he earns €1,400 net per month and gets a holiday bonus of €150 net in July. So you can see here I put 1,400 in each one and 1,550 here. Note that I don't put a euro sign in front because I have euro signs up the top here, so that covers me for the whole of the budget. And then at the very end here, all I did was I just added these four figures together. So I want you to do the exact same thing for Eileen Caldwell now, and pause the video and come back and see if you got the correct answer. Okay, so when you filled in Eileen Caldwell here, you should have had 1,600 each month and then 6,400 at the very end when you added them all together. Finally, I just went ahead and filled in the child benefit, which was €150 per month, and the total there is 600. And then the last thing here, I have interest on savings, which is €50, and it's just in June. So what you can do for the rest of the months is just put a little line in each one, and then again just put in 50 there for the total. Okay, so for the final part then, what we're going to do is just add up these figures here for the whole month of June. So when you do that, you're going to get 3200 and just pop that into that box there. You'll see that I just highlighted this total income. I tend to do that when I'm doing budgets just because when I go to look back on total income and when we do total expenditure, it's just really easy then to see the figures that you need for the very last part of the opening cash. So go ahead and do July, August and September for me now, please. Finally, for the last part, I just added all of these figures here to get 12,800 in the total column. I could also add these here, and it's a good way of checking if you're correct, if all your figures have been correct, that all of these and all of these will give you the exact same answer here as 12,800. Okay, so let's move on to the planned expenditure. So starting off with the fixed expenditure, you can see that the apartment rent is 1,280 per month, and I've just gone ahead and put those figures in for each month and then added them up at the very end. Okay, then we just put in the car loan. So the information on the car loan, it says Simon's car loan repayments are $370 per month and will be fully paid by the end of July. So we put 370 into June, 370 into July, and again I just added all of those figures to get 740. We can see that the car insurance premiums are 520 for Simon, due in June, and 285 for Eileen, due in August. So we just put a line through July and September because there's no payments made there, and sum up the total. Finally, we see house insurance. So just focus on these words here. 360 per annum and is payable monthly from June. So per annum means for the whole year. And we only want to find out how much they pay per month. And then we need to look at the 4 months itself. So what you need to do then is 360 divide by 12 and get the monthly figure, which gives me €30. And then that €30 you're going to put in for each month there. So guys, after that I just put in the €30 in each one, added them up to 120, and then the final part I just added each column as we did before, and got the total figures along here, and then finally added the totals column to get this figure, or you could add this column here to get this total figure. Okay, so we can see household expenses are usually 480 per month, except in July where there's a reduction of €150. So you can see here, I just put in the reduction here, 480 minus 150 gives me 330, and then I just added up all the figures. Next we look at the car running costs. So you can see that it's going to be €80 per month for Simon and 150 for Eileen. So we need to add the two of them. We're going to get 230, and that's the figure we're going to put in. So I just popped those figures in there and I added them all up to get 920. And then for the next part we see that school uniforms and books will cost $340 in September. So just September, so put a line through the other columns and we get $340. Okay, so I just went ahead and put in the gas bills here for for June and August. The telephone bills, so June and July were the same and August and September were the same. I added up all the totals of each of these and then totaled each one, and then at the very end I got this total here. Now when I actually did that a second ago, I got an incorrect figure for here, and when I added them up and I checked all of these, I got two different answers. So then I realised I had to go back, and what had happened was I had put 480 in here when I put it into my calculator. Okay, so I just went ahead here and did the discretionary expenditure. I think you have, at this point you should kind of have the gist of how we go about doing this. So the presents 140 in September, €8 per month for entertainment, and then the 1,650. Add each column to get these figures here, and add each row then to get these figures here, and all of that should add up to 2,110. Okay, so now let's look at putting it all together. So what you can see that I did here is all of my subtotals of my planned expenditure and my discretionary expenditure, I put them in red. And what I did then is I just added the figures here. So you have 220, 839 and 80, and I got this figure here for the total expenditure. And I did that with each one the whole way along. And then just to double check, I added all of these figures up, and both these three and all of these figures should come to this 12,274. Then let's look at doing the net cash. Okay, so you can see I have my total income, we'd highlight that in yellow, and I highlighted my total expenditure in yellow because I'm going to use these figures now. So we can see total income minus total expenditure will give me my net cash. So I'm going to do that for each column the whole way along. So July is going to be 3300 minus 4015. Okay, for the next one, what we're going to do is we're going to take 3300, 4015, and I'll get negative 715. And when we're doing budgets, instead of putting minus in front of 715, we actually just put it in brackets. So just remember that. Okay, so from our information, we can see here the opening cash on the 1st of June was €100. So I've just put that €100 into the opening cash there. And then my closing cash is going to be my my net cash plus my opening cash. When I add those together, I get €181. And what I do is I bring that up then into my opening cash for the following month. Now remember, when I'm adding these two here, this is a negative 715. So when I add these two figures together, I get minus 534, which remember we put in brackets. And then I take that figure and I bring it up into the opening cash of the following month. So that goes up there. Okay, so I continue to do that the whole way along until I get to the final month of September, and I get 626. So the final step in this, because this column is to do with the totals, well, what we need to do is that's the total of the 4 months. So we need to take the opening cash from the very beginning of that period, which we know was €100. And then we go ahead and add those two figures. And when we add those two figures, we should get 626, which is our closing figure here. So then that's how I know that my budget has been balanced. Okay, that these two figures must be the same. And that's the final answer. So go ahead and fill that in on the budget that you have, that I asked you to write into your copy. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples on those. So when you're submitting, you're just going to be submitting a picture of this template all filled in, and then I can just check the final figures at the very bottom.